A player with those kind of skills traditionally usually plays outfield. I will slot him in at my shortstop position and sit on him. Again, I think he's a year away. I think he makes it to AAA this year, though. I think he starts at AA. And I think he continues. He's a high average guy. 310 to 330. I think he could potentially hit 20 to 25 homers this year. You're going to see a negative trend with Wander Franco in his age 18 to 19 season. He's the number one prospect for a reason. These guys usually don't miss. Usually. The next guy I want to talk about, Kevin, Julio Rodriguez. 20 years old. The other guy in Seattle, the other outfielder in Seattle that really lit it up last year. He signed in 2017 out of the Dominican, and he showed his abilities quickly in rookie ball, where he hit .315 with 5 homers and 10 stolen bases in just 59 games as a 17-year-old. He climbed all the way to high A as an 18-year-old. And at high A that year, he hit .462. Although it's just 17 games, that's pretty good. He sits at 6'4", and he's quite competent at the plate. He's still 2 years away. But you can see Rodriguez where Kelenic is right now, this time next year. He could be a handful of your top 10 type talents with just one more year of seasoning. I look for him to start the year at high A with a quick promotion to double A. Granted, he has a little bit of early success. He could be a 3-level player this year. He could end up in triple A just for a taste at the end of the year. This is a kid, guys. Again, 12 homers in just 84 games last year. He was clearly playing in his own class last year. The next guy I want to talk about, the guy that's not on any list. So these guys are, I label these guys as on the verge of the top 100. Okay? And again, as a Cubs fan, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer. I'm going to talk about this guy first. Brennan Davis, at just 20 years old. He's an outfielder for the Cubs. Last year in South Bend, he hit .305 with 8 homers, 33 runs, 30 ribbies, and 4 stolen bases in just 50 games. Those of you guys that know me know that I like to project. 50 games is about a third of the year. So times 3, 8 homers quickly turns to 24. 4 stolen bases quickly turns to 12. This is a guy who is trending upwards. Could be a 30-30 guy, has that sort of potential in the next couple years. You're looking at a true 5-star player. He has the potential to hit for a high average. He has the potential to hit for power and steals. And center field's wide open in Chicago, guys. So we're talking about a guy as a 19-year-old A-ball is playing at that level at a young age. He is a potentially dangerous base stealer. He needs to work on his plate discipline. But he's rapidly ascending up the Cubs system. Double A is kind of the floor for him. He could reach Triple A if he really takes off this year. He's just 22, but he profiles as a 30-30 type player. Guys, people aren't talking about Brennan Davis. He's that next group of guys that you just want to take note of. He's not going to help you this year. But maybe at the All-Star break of next year, he could be an impact player for your team. This next guy I love, Jason Dominguez. First overall pick in the international draft last year. He's just 16 years old. Been called a generational talent. He's been called a Martian by Jason Giambi. He's been comped to players like Bo Jackson, Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle. It's crazy when you think about a 16-year-old and all that lofty praise. But he's mature for his age at the plate. He understands approach. He understands working counts. He's fast enough to play center. 30 stolen bases is a pretty safe floor for this kid. They say his 60-yard dash time is comparable to that of Billy Hamilton's. He's the whole package, guys. You're not going to see Dominguez for 2 to 3 years. But if you're starting a dynasty league, this is where you start. I have on here, think Byron Buxton on steroids. Figuratively. But no, it makes sense. This guy has plus power. He has plus speed, and he understands what he's doing at the plate. I love Jason Dominguez. I look for him to get as high as Double-A this year, probably only for a cup of coffee, because he will just be 17 years old. But I love this kid. Guys, thanks for sticking with me. This is a lot. I get it. But I love this shit. It's fun. Let's talk about this next guy. Talked about this guy some last year. Let's talk about a 20-year-old 6'6" shortstop for the Pirates, O'Neal Cruz. In 2019, he hit .298, 8 homers, 11 stolen bases in 73 games. You're looking at 15-20 with room to grow into that. He probably projects more as a third baseman, but I'm not one to put brackets on this guy. He's playing shortstop right now. He was acquired from the Dodgers in a trade that sent Tony Watson from Pittsburgh to LA. In 2018, he hit .286 with 14 homers. He fractured his foot early last season, but returned gangbustered. He hit .301 with 7 homers at High A before they promoted him to Double-A, again as a 19-year-old. He hit .269 with a homer and 3 stolen bases at Double-A. Look for him to start there this year. Hey, Ed, welcome. I said this the other night with Arnie. I'll say it again tonight. When you are cheap, as the Pirates are, you cannot afford to miss out on prospects like O'Neal Cruz. The Pirates have been extremely effective in developing these types of players. I love this kid, and he could be a top 20 prospect this time next year. I gave you guys a little snippet last Tuesday when I was on air with Arnie about this next guy. I love this guy. He reminds me of Anthony Rendon. I'm talking about 21-year-old third baseman for the Rangers, Josh Jung. Last year at 2 levels, rookie and A, he hit .316, 2 homers in just 44 games. But what I want to tell you, as a 3-year starter at Texas Tech, which is an elite college baseball program, he hit .343 his senior year, 15 homers with 58 RBIs. I like this guy because he's an average hitter first who's going to hit you some power. That's why I like this guy. Listen, I was on Anthony Rendon when he was a Double-A player. I predicted him then. I just didn't have the platform that I have now. Josh Jung reminds me of Anthony Rendon. If you like Anthony Rendon and you're in a keeper league, this is a guy you want to target. Okay? The power numbers will come as he climbs the ladder. Again, you're talking about another top 20 type player this time next year. If he just shows what he showed in college. That's why I love college bats. I got to play these.
Man, you just got to play one game at a time and go out there and give 110%. And it's just so you want it more than they do when the chips fall where they may. Thank you very much. Back to you, Jerry and Dan. All right!
So, I'm a bit of a movie fan. That's from the corniest 1990s movie, Bedazzled. But I love that clip. Josh Jung has a ton of potential. That's my point, and that's how I'm going to tie this in. Not great. Josh Jung could end up hitting you 320. He could end up hitting you 25 homers in the middle of an emerging Texas lineup. I really like Jung. Everybody Wang Jung tonight. Let's talk about, Andrea, this one's for you. Let's talk about Nick Lodolo. 21 years old, left-handed pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. Guys, if you take nothing from this hour and a half now I'm going on, understand that this is the guy. You're going to make me talk about Brandon Marsh. I'll talk about him. Hang on one second. I like Marsh. I do. I think he sits behind. I am not in the camp that he will jump Joe Adell. I think Joe Adell is the better of the two prospects. That said, Adell has some work to do, whereas Marsh has kind of proven himself a little bit, right? You're looking at a guy that 286 last year. He had 19 stolen bases. He is a solid contact hitter. It's going to take an injury for Marsh to see the field. Barring Adell doesn't really succeed, which I look for him too. So, I guess to answer your question, I'm an Adell over Marsh guy. Okay? That doesn't mean I don't like him. That just means, just like Tucker and Alvarez, these rosters start to get crunched. I'm assuming Justin Upton stays healthy. I'm assuming Mike Trout stays healthy. That just leaves one spot. That's my point. But I want to talk about Lodolo because I think this is a point that a lot of people are missing out on. Some background. Yes. 21 years old. He's a lefty. He was drafted by the Pirates in 2016 in the first round. 41st overall. He was the highest